Why did I ever think I could start over at 76 hauling boxes like some fool chasing a second youth? The last box seemed heavier than the previous 7, and as I set it down on the creaky floor of this rented shack on the outskirts of Tupelo behind the railroad tracks where the locals whispered about hard times, my lower back screamed in protest. I'm Owen Boyd, a retired hydraulic engineer who's just sold the Victorian house on Crescent Avenue where my wife Faye and I built our life over nearly 40 years, raising our daughter, Helvisa, weathering floods and patents, until cancer stole Faye 6 years ago, leaving me rattling around like a ghost in empty rooms. Now, here I am in this unpretentious but clean dive, a small living room with cracked plaster walls that echo every footstep, a cramped kitchen boasting a stove from the Stone Age one-bedroom barely big enough for regrets, and a bathroom the size of a broom closet. The core tension gnaws at me, Helvisa's cold distance treating me like an ATM for her and her slick husband Quentin's whims, while I've secretly sold a patent for millions buying time in this hole before moving to luxury she can't imagine. But as I stand here, sweat beading on my forehead under the dim bulb's harsh glow, the gray February sky pressing down outside like unspoken judgments, I sense complications brewing. Will this adventure expose their greed or just deepen my isolation? The air smells of dust and faded dreams, the floorboards groaning as if sharing my burden, drawing me into unpacking not just boxes, but the fragments of a life poised for reckoning. I straightened up, feeling that familiar ache, and muttered to myself about agreeing to this madness. Hand on heart, I didn't have much stuff left after selling most of the furniture with the old house. For a temporary shelter of 2 months, this place would do time between the sale and the new beginning time to gather thoughts and figure out what I truly wanted from whatever years remained. I opened the first box of dishes, the clink of plates reminding me of simpler dinners with Faye. Why this adventure? Because I needed that buffer, a pause to breathe without the weight of expectations. Pulling out 2 framed photos, I set them on the mantelpiece, the only spot for decoration in this sparse room. The first showed Faye, smiling, her brown hair loose in the breeze, a summer dress fluttering against the backdrop of Lake Chattanooga, our 20th anniversary in 1987, a day of laughter and promises renewed. The second captured the 3 of us, me, Faye, and little Helvisa, at about 8, her eyes bright with innocence that time would erode. If only you could see what our daughter has become, Faye, I thought, running my finger along the glass. Maybe it's a good thing you can't. Faye died 6 years ago from pancreatic cancer, quick and ruthless, ripping away the only person who saw me as more than a wallet or a fixture, someone with dreams, fears, hopes. After her passing, Helvisa drifted further, appearing mostly when she needed cash for kitchen renovations, summer vacations, a new car. "Daddy, you're not going to spend it on yourself anyway, and Quentin and I need it now," she'd say, her voice laced with that entitled edge. I gave in, not out of belief in her sincerity, but because it was easier and because Faye loved her no matter what. Opening the second box, I took out the kettle, an old-fashioned whistling one Faye had snagged at a flea market in Nashville back in '93. "Look, Owen, it's just like my grandmother's," she'd exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. I smiled at the memory and placed it on the stove, the metal cool against my palm. When we first moved to Tupelo in the '70s, I was a young hydro engineer brimming with ambition, hired to redesign the water system after the floods devastated the old one. Faye and I were full of enthusiasm. Helvisa had just been born. We bought the Crescent Avenue house thinking it temporary, but it became our forever until now. My work swallowed me, designing supply and sewage systems, tackling drainage, battling pollution. In the '80s, I patented an innovative filtration system, adopted statewide, bringing in decent money we saved for Helvisa's education, as Faye insisted. She grew up smart, but cold, always craving more, better toys, fancier clothes, pricier hobbies. I recalled her tantrum at 16 over no car. "All normal fathers have enough money for that," her words stinging like ice. Then came Quentin, tall with a perfect smile and expensive suit, a business school grad eyeing our home with disdain. "What do you do, Mr. Boyd?" he'd asked. "Hydraulic engineer, I design water systems." "Oh, like a city plumber," he quipped. Helvisa laughing as Faye squeezed my hand under the table, urging silence. I sighed now, putting the kettle on the flame-flickering blue. Outside, the Mississippi sky grayed further. 3 weeks ago, I'd signed papers selling the Victorian to a young doctor couple for a fair sum. Helvisa raged, "Our family home, you had no right without consulting me. Quentin and I could have moved in." I nearly laughed her dismissing it as outdated before now coveting it as inheritance. "The house is sold," I'd said. "I've rented temporarily." She'd chuckled derisively. "From decent to some hovel." I didn't explain the patent sale 2 months prior, a large environmental corporation buying rights to my perfected industrial wastewater system. Nor the new house I'd selected. Let her assume. The kettle whistled, pulling me back. I made tea and sat in the only chair from the old house, shabby with wooden armrests, an extension of me, Faye used to say. It held our best and worst moments. Outside, a mail van pulled up, my smartphone vibrating. Helvisa. I answered with a sigh. Her voice chipper. "Hi, Daddy. How's the move? Quentin and I thought we'd come by tomorrow, help settle in." "Since when?" "Not in 6 years, not even post-heart surgery." "Okay, come for dinner," I said, dictating the address. Ending the call, I watched the neighbor, a full-figured woman in a bright tracksuit, animatedly chatting with the mailman. Turning away, I addressed Faye's photo. Sometimes I think we spoiled her too much. No reply, of course. I finished tea and resumed unpacking. In one box, a folder with new house paperwork and photos, a 2-story colonial mansion in Tupelo's upscale area, 6 bedrooms, 5 baths, library, theater, pool, tennis court, 3 acres. Who'd think an old plumber could afford it? I hid the folder. Tomorrow promised interest. The rest of the day arranging books, hanging clothes, tidying kitchen. Evening brought Chinese takeout fatigue, heavy. Settling with a book, thoughts circled the visit. What drove them? Concern or calculation? Cynicism weighed, but Faye called me an incorrigible optimist. Maybe she was right. I smiled into darkness, anticipating the prank-like lesson ahead. The realtor called at dawn. Previous owners vacated, early move, possible sooner. I stuck to plan 2 days. Stretching stiff neck, I showered, made coffee. Busy day, groceries for dinner, finish unpacking, check papers. At the supermarket, steaks, potatoes, veggies, decent Merlot. Nothing extravagant, but not pauper's fare. Home, I pondered Quentin's snobbery, vinegar Owen. Didn't care today. Spent hours preparing, excitement mingling with dread. By afternoon, sun-pierced February chill. I watched a neighbor boy bike through puddles, evoking young Helvisa's carefree days. 4 hours till they arrived. Steaks marinating, potatoes peeled, salad prepped later. Wine on table, 2018. Merlot clerk approved. Folder on coffee table. Show immediately or wait. Our meetings strained lately. Holiday dinners cut short. Since Faye's death, ties severed further. I stood in the cramped kitchen, the kettle's faint hum filling the silence as I unpacked another box, the cardboard edges worn soft from years of use. Each item was a shard of memory, pulling me back to the life Faye and I built in Tupelo. A chipped mug from our first apartment, a wedding gift we'd laughed over for its garish floral pattern, now sat heavy in my hand. I set it on the counter, the ceramic cool against my fingers, and thought of Faye's warm laugh, how she'd tease me for overanalyzing every decision. She was my anchor, grounding my ambitions with her practicality, her love a steady current through 46 years of marriage. Pancreatic cancer stole her too fast, leaving a void where her understanding once lived. Helvisa, our only child, became a stranger after that, her visits rare and always tied to requests for money, kitchen upgrades, vacations, a new car. I gave in, not for her crocodile tears, but for Faye, who'd loved her fiercely despite her flaws. From the next box, I pulled a faded tablecloth, one Faye had sewn in the 80s, its stitches still tight despite years of Sunday dinners. Those were the days when Helvisa was a gap-toothed girl, giggling as she helped Faye set the table, not yet hardened by the world's glitter. We'd moved to Tupelo in the 70s, me a young hydraulic engineer brimming with ideas to fix the city's flood-ravaged water system. The Crescent Avenue house was meant to be temporary, a starter for our growing family, but it became our world. Helvisa's first steps in the hallway, her crayons scrawled on the walls. My career consumed me designing pipelines, solving drainage issues, fighting groundwater contamination. In 1984, I patented a filtration system that cities across Tennessee adopted, earning enough to secure Helvisa's future as Faye insisted. Let's save for her education. She'd set her eyes on our daughter's potential, not luxury. But Helvisa grew up wanting more designer clothes. Expensive hobbies, a car at 16, she screamed. We owed her. All normal fathers afford it. She'd yelled, slamming her door. I saw it even then, the cold calculation in her eyes. But Faye soothed my hurt, urging patience. I opened another box, finding a photo album, its dark blue cover frayed. Inside, snapshots of Helvisa newborn in Faye's arms, toddling toward me, beaming on her first day of school with a backpack dwarfing her. By her 16th birthday, her smile was tight, expectant. We'd gifted her a sapphire bracelet, her birthstone, but she'd sulked, wanting a car her friends had. Money was tight. Faye's father's medical bills drained us, but we planned to get her one at 17. She never forgave the delay. Flipping further, I saw her college years. Her gaze growing distant, her smile strained. Then Quentin appeared, a business school grad, with slick charm and a handshake too firm, like he was measuring my worth. Nice to meet you, Mr. Boyd, he'd said, but his eyes scanned our modest home with disdain. Hydraulic engineer, like a city plumber. Helvisa's laugh cut deeper than his words. Faye's hand found mine under the table, her silent plea to let it go. I did as always for her. Their wedding was a spectacle, 300 guests, a lavish hotel, $30,000 we scraped from savings and a loan I hid from Faye. Helvisa called it her only wedding gift. A year later, they needed $50,000 for a house down payment in Tupelo's upscale area. With Faye's treatment eating our funds, I sold my rare coin collection and borrowed from my brother. You're the best. Daddy, Helvisa said, her kiss fleeting, no questions asked about the cost. I closed the album, the weight of those years pressing on my chest. Outside, the February sky hung low gray as my mood. Helvisa's entitlement hadn't sprung from nowhere. We'd indulged her Faye with love me with compliance. Maybe we'd been too soft, as I'd told Faye's photo last night. The kettle whistled again, sharper now, and I turned it off, the steam curling like ghosts of old arguments. 3 weeks ago, selling the Crescent Avenue house felt like betraying Faye's memory. But it was time. Helvisa's fury. You sold our home was less about sentiment than lost inheritance. She and Quentin had mocked its outdated charm, yet now saw it as their due. I didn't tell her about the patent sale, the $8 million from Global Eco for my refined wastewater system, or the new colonial mansion waiting in Oakwood Hills. Let them think I'd fallen low. Back in the living room, I arranged books on a rickety shelf, their spines worn from years of late-night reading with Faye. My phone buzzed, Helvisa again, confirming tomorrow's visit. Her voice had been too bright, like a sales pitch, and I wondered what she wanted now. Money control, or just to gloat over my supposed ruin. I set the phone down, glancing at Faye's photo, her summer dress vivid against the lake's shimmer. You always saw the good in her, I murmured. But I need to see the truth. Tomorrow I'd cook dinner, set the stage, and let their reactions reveal who they'd become. The cracked plaster walls seemed to lean in, listening, as I unpacked another box, finding a small wooden carving of a duck Faye had loved. It felt warm in my hand, like her hand once did, steadying me for what lay ahead. 3 months after Faye's funeral, Helvisa and Quentin had shown up to discuss the future, as she put it, their faces masks of false concern. Daddy, we think you should sell the house. It's too big for one person, she'd said, while Quentin nodded, adding that real estate values were climbing and I could profit, maybe move to a retirement community. At 70, I'd bristled, I'm capable of maintaining it. But they'd rolled their eyes, treating me like a stubborn child. I didn't argue then, just said I'd think about it, and they left smug. Now 6 years later, as I turned away from the window in this temporary rental, the memory fueled my resolve. The mirror in the tiny bathroom showed my gray hair wrinkles, etching stories of loss and endurance, the face of a man ready to demand respect. I walked out and eyed the box of family albums again, pulling one more for a deeper look. Photos of Helvisa's high school graduation, her poised but aloof expression, university entrance where ambition sharpened her features, graduation arm linked with Quentin's, his condescending smile already in place. Our first meeting replayed, his firm grip straight back. Helisa's told me so much about you. Doubtful we barely spoke by then, her absorbed in city life marketing job, upscale friends. Quentin advising millionaires on investments made me feel inadequate. Still watch cable, and everyone streams now. Or, that car's over 10 years old, dangerous at your age. Helvisa never corrected him, often piling on, Daddy doesn't like change. Their wedding loomed in my mind, extravagant $30,000 shortfall they needed from me. I'd taken a secret loan, paid it off alone. Then the house down payment, $50,000 more as Faye battled illness. I sold coins borrowed from family. Helvisa took it without thanks. No housewarming invite followed. I closed the album at 3 p.m., 3 hours till their arrival. A walk would clear the bitterness. The working-class neighborhood hummed with authenticity, one-story houses, kids playing unsupervised shabby cars in driveways. No sterile perfection like Helvisa's suburb. In the small park, ducks quacked in a pond, an emerald-headed one bullying others for bread tossed by an elderly woman. Always the cockiest gets everything, she grumbled. Like life. I nodded, smiling. Maybe I'd let Helvisa and Quentin bully too long. Back home, I pondered revealing the new house photos right away or waiting to gauge their arrogance. The second option tempted, let them expose disdain, then shock them with the $6 million truth. Petty perhaps, but Faye wouldn't mind a lesson in justice. At 5, I started dinner. Steaks from fridge warming, potatoes boiling, veggies chopped. Faye taught me cooking basics early on. A man should feed himself. Post her death. I'd experimented though. Quentin mocked it as odd for my generation. Table set, simply white plates, cheap glasses, basic cutlery fitting the humble vibe. At 5:45, clean shirt and pants, looking capable despite limited means. 5:55. Quentin's black SUV pulled up, gleaming luxury against the rundown street. They emerged, Helvisa in beige coat and boots, Quentin in cashmere and scarf. Their distasteful glances shared chuckle, Quentin's words lost to wind. I counted to 5 after the knock opened with a natural smile. "Welcome," I said. Helvisa kissed my cheek, wiping lipstick. "How are you, Daddy?" Quentin's handshake cold. "Interesting place, Owen." "Come in, dinner's almost ready." They entered me, closing the door. The show began. I watched their eyes scan disappointment, veiled shock simmering. Helvisa perched on the couch, barely touching it. Quentin stood surveying like a health inspector. "Need kitchen help?" she asked, first time ever. "No, just frying steaks." In the kitchen, meat sizzled, their whispers. Carried, "Bathroom's a hazard, boiler over toilet," Quentin hissed. "Should have sold sooner, now he's in this dump, blown savings." "Not our problem, he won't ask us for money," Helvisa replied. Blood rushed to my face, fear of my burden, not concern. Hold back, I thought, let it unfold. "Dinner's ready," I called, plating steaks. Quentin opened the wine corkscrews there. He twirled the bottle, 2018 Merlot. Not a great year. Can't all be experts. I shrugged. Helvisa beamed. Quentin took a sommelier course, 50 select bottles at home. Impressive. We sat at the small table, their glances screaming discomfort. "So, Dad, how'd you end up here?" Helvisa sipped wine. "Temporary. I cut steak." "But why this neighborhood stay with us? We have space." "Laughable, never offered post-surgery. Like my own space." "Then what permanent place?" Quentin picked at food. "Something similar. You'll see." They exchanged looks. "We're worried financial decisions after the sale." Helvisa touched my hand. "Right ones." I raised a brow. "You got money, but renting this instead of buying suitable for your age status." "My status?" Smile escaped. "Quentin, respected engineer, not wealthy, but not this dump." Helvisa, "What happened to the money?" "In my account." Irritation flared. "Midlife crisis, old people buy cars, not slums." "Helvisa," Quentin shushed. "You need help, psychiatrist, financial advisor." Quentin could review accounts. "What's left?" I eyed him. Anger built, but calm held true colors shining. "What advise, Quentin? Stop renting, buy affordable retirement apartment. With pension and house money reasonable." "My patent." He frowned. "What patent?" "Wastewater filtration, told you often. Municipal stuff worthless, not Apple tech." Helvisa rolled eyes. "Who needs water treatment?" "Global Eco, $8 million. Silence. Quentin choked. "Joke. I stood, living room, show you something." They followed me into the living room, tension thick as the cracked plaster around us. I picked up the folder from the coffee table, the papers inside crisp against my fingers, and gestured to the couch. "Sit down, please." Helvisa and Quentin, perched on the edge strings, taught their faces a mix of confusion and calculation. I opened the folder and handed Quentin the Global Eco contract. Take a look, you're the financial expert. He scanned it skeptically at first, but his expression shifted, eyes widening, mouth slackening. Is this a joke? Helvisa leaned in. What is it? $8 million, he whispered. They paid him $8 million for the patent. She snatched the document. No way, I nodded calmly. Plus royalties for 15 years. But why didn't you tell us? Helvisa stared like I was a stranger. Why should I? You've never shown interest in my work, always changing the subject. $8 million changes everything, Quentin blurted. Changes what exactly? Your attitude toward me, he faltered. Dad, we've always been proud, Helvisa interjected. We just didn't know it was so valuable. Valuable, I echoed. I laid out the new house photos, the colonial mansion's grand facade columns gleaming, garden manicured pool, sparkling tennis court pristine. This is my permanent home, bought for $6 million, moving tomorrow. Their eyes bulged. You bought this. Helvisa couldn't look away. Why live here then? Previous owners finishing up needed a bridge. Shock turned to calculation. Amazing, Daddy, she smiled widely. We're happy for you. We could help move through a housewarming. Yes, Owen, great neighborhood, Oakwood Hills, Quentin added, envy leaking. Most exclusive in Tupelo. I know, her hand on my shoulder. Let's celebrate. Quentin and I organize everything. I gathered the photos slowly. No housewarming. Why? Surprise genuine. I share joy with people there in good and bad times. Her face froze. What do you mean? 10 minutes ago you sneered at this place, called it a dump, suggested psychiatric help, worried I'd beg money. We were concerned, she exclaimed. Know about being my burden. I heard your kitchen whispers. She paled. Not what we meant. Exactly that. I paused. You've treated me like an ATM when needed a burden otherwise. Never cared about my life projects, saw me as an old loser. Owen, you're dramatizing, Quentin said. We've respected you. Respect calling me a plumber first meeting. He blushed. Joke. No, your truth. Today proved it. Helvisa teared up, not remorse but frustration. What's gotten into you? We came to help you stage this spectacle. You insisted on coming. I wanted to see who you've become. And who are we? Arms crossed. People judging by dollars alone. Not true. Then why the sudden party offer after $8 million? Silence. Selling the house, I felt guilty depriving your inheritance. But now I see to you it was asset, not home of memories, love. At Faye's mention, she shuddered. Leave Mom out. She'd disapprove. Faye was kinder, but had limits, you crossed them. Quentin stood. We should go, no constructive dialogue. Obviously. Helvisa rose angry. You'll regret this, can't cut us out. Not cutting, seeing clearly, don't like it. They stood, shock and anger, plain, no remorse. New chapter tomorrow, I said, rising. You can join on my terms, real respect, not money-sided. You've changed. She shook head. No, you have. Quentin took her hand. No point. I walked them out. On threshold tears. All about money. Think you can say anything now you're rich. No about truth. Money showed it. Door closed, I leaned against it, watching them drive off. Quentin gesturing furiously, Helvisa wiping eyes, no backward glance. Back inside, I lifted Faye's photo. You were right, lessons sometimes needed. Put it down, window, showing snowflakes in streetlight. Tomorrow, new day. Woke to sun rays, street quiet, asphalt glistening post-rain. Moving day left strange aftertaste, no triumph, no regret, just certainty. Coffee in old chair, soon relocating. Not much. 10 boxes rest warehoused. Movers at 8 loading efficiently. Tattoo-armed one-handled chair reverently. Last Mr. Boyd? Yes. Empty rooms smaller. Keys to manager scowling in worn jacket. Into car truck to meet at new house. Helvisa's message, need to talk, call. Ignored predictable, now knowing money. Drive through Tupelo downtown park, of Sunday walks with Faye. Helvisa's school, city hall of my career. City familiar yet foreign. Old Ford, out of place in Oakwood Hills manicured streets. Gate code, opened oak-lined drive to white columned mansion porch, wide facade impressive, better than photos. Phone rang Helvisa. Answered to end it. Finally been trying. Moving. How's it need help? No movers. Daddy apologized for yesterday we were wrong. Did. Got briefcase. Shouldn't judge. Your life. Thanks. Steps to door Miss Price waiting suit impeccable. Can't today busy unpacking neighbors. But. Gotta go. Ended pocketed phone. Welcome, Mr. Boyd. She handed keys. Wait symbolic new life. Everything ready. Absolutely cleaned paperwork done. Tour. Hall marble floored spiral stairs. Sunlight flooded. Living room working fireplace. First floor dining with mahogany table, modern kitchen library shelves, study overlooking pool tennis court. Movers here. Watched unload humble belongings contrast luxury, yet they made it mine history memories. Second floor, 6 bedrooms, 5 baths. Master east wing walk-in closet, private bath. Automated systems panel controls lights, temp security, app 2. Need help tech not my forte. Can arrange specialist. Helvisa's message. Don't stubborn we want makeup. Quentin terrible. Ignored. Price left noon movers by 2. Alone in vast house, sat at desk phase photo right. Window to lawn gazebo. All mine strange. Vibrated Quentin. Silenced. Rooms? Price had asked. Gradually no rush. Wise, she'd said, offering designers. The movers had just driven off their truck rumbling down the oak-lined driveway, leaving me in the echoing vastness of this new mansion that still felt more like a showroom than a home. I wandered back to the study, the marble floors cool under my socks, and sank into my old chair by the window, the one piece that grounded me amid the luxury. Outside the landscaped grounds stretched out the pool's water rippling gently in the afternoon breeze, the tennis court pristine and unused. It was all so different from the creaky rental I'd left behind where every corner held a memory or a lesson. My phone vibrated on the desk, another message from Helvisa. Dad, we're coming to see you, we really need to talk. Typical of her to ignore my earlier brush-off pushing as if my boundaries were suggestions. I typed back, not ready today. Respect my wish to be alone on moving day. Her reply flashed instantly. We're on our way. Be there in 20 minutes. I sighed, the screen blurring for a moment as fatigue settled in. Fine if they insisted, but I wouldn't let them in. Not yet. Not until I was ready to face their feigned remorse. To clear my head, I decided to explore the neighborhood, something I'd planned anyway. I changed into the navy pants and light blue shirt Faye had gifted me for my last birthday with her, the fabric still soft, carrying a faint echo of her touch. Stepping out, the wide streets of Oakwood Hills unfolded like a manicured dream, immaculate lawns, stately homes with blooming magnolias, the air scented with fresh-cut grass. No rundown cars or unsupervised kids here, just quiet elegance. An elderly couple strolled nearby, the man with a military posture, the woman elegant with silver hair in a bun. Good afternoon, I called, approaching. I'm Owen Boyd, just moved in. The man shook my hand firmly. Walter Hammond, and this is my wife Elizabeth. We live in the green-roofed house 3rd from here. Elizabeth smiled warmly. Welcome to Oakwood Hills. Alone or with family? Alone, my wife passed 6 years ago. Sorry to hear, she said, genuine sympathy in her eyes. Tough loss. Yes, but life goes on. We chatted. Walter, a retired military engineer, shared my technical bent. Hydrologic engineer colleagues of sorts, I designed bridges in the service. They invited me to a barbecue next weekend to meet others, and I accepted, feeling a spark of connection absent for years. Walking back, their kindness lingered, a contrast to the chill from my own family. At the gate, Quentin's SUV idled, gleaming black against the wrought iron. Helvisa jumped out. Daddy, we've waited half an hour. I said I was busy. Wanted to check on you, help settle, Quentin added, stepping out in a suit too formal for help. Impressive place, Owen didn't expect such scope. Yes, Dad, the house is amazing. Let us see inside. Their eyes held curiosity, greed, poorly masked. Apologies rang hollow after yesterday's venom. Not today, I said firmly, staying behind the gate. Just moved, want solitude. But Dad, I cut her off. Respect my wishes, just once. Hurt flashed, but Quentin touched her shoulder. Of course, Owen. Let us know when ready. They drove off reluctantly, no fight left. Relief washed over me, no fake concern invading my space. Back inside, I unpacked through afternoon books on library shelves, Faye's photos scattered hall bedroom study, so her presence filled every room. By evening, rooms felt lived in despite emptiness. Italian takeout arrived, a treat, pasta steaming garlic bread crisp. I ate by the fireplace, flames crackling, whiskey glass in hand, toasting silently to new starts. Darkness fell, neighbor lights twinkling like stars. Helvisa's message, "Want to make things work, give us a chance." Ignored it, perhaps later, on terms of respect, not greed. For now, freedom tasted sweet, priceless, after years bound by obligation. March brought unexpected warmth to Tupelo apple trees in my orchard, blushing pink lawn greening lushly. A month in Oakwood Hills transformed the mansion, heirlooms unpacked, Faye's paintings hung, books organized. New furniture from a local maker blended with old, recreating Faye's cozy touch. On the veranda, with morning coffee, silence soothing, Elizabeth approached, basket in hand. "Good morning, Owen. Blueberry muffins, fresh experiment." "You spoil me. Come in, coffee's ready." In the sunlit living room we settled. "How's the Clean Water Fund?" she asked. "Successfully met ecosystems reps yesterday, interested in affordable filters for developing countries." Post-move, I'd channeled knowledge and funds beyond comfort. Patent connections led to social investments in purification sanitation for poor areas. "Wonderful." Elizabeth nodded. "Walter says your system adapts to primitive conditions." "Its value." Muffin divine. "Speaking of projects, met your daughter at the store yesterday." I tensed. Helvisa visits strained twice this month. Supermarket run-in tea with Quentin, admiration laced with fortune probing. "How is she?" "Outwardly fine, but overheard her with Martha Jenkins, worried since your wife's death you've been out of sorts. Sold family home, bought this recklessly, spending inheritance on dubious projects." Bitter laugh escaped. "Family inheritance." "My earnings profession," she scorned. Elizabeth faltered. "Thought untrue, but Martha believed similar talk at Bridge Club." Rumors from Helvisa Quinton, unsurprising yet stinging. "Sorry, Owen, children painful." Hoped for respect. "Maybe time." I shifted. "How's charity concert on committee?" She followed, discussing event for music school. I offered sponsorship, pleasing her. After she left, garden walk, rose beds, Japanese pond, gazebo. Beauty didn't soothe, rumors festered. Not shocked, but hurt lingered. In study, Faye's photo. "What now, sweetheart? You believed in her good heart, lost to Quentin's values. Years passed." No answer, but her imagined pragmatism, justice needed. Folder from drawer, old will, Helvisa, sole heir. Now change due. Phone rang, Brooks and Associates. "Mr. Boyd, Foundation docs nearly ready, finalized today. Afternoon works. Mentioned will change, discuss?" "Yes." Decision crystallized, no doubts. At 2 p.m., I parked my new dark graphite sedan outside Brooks and Associates in downtown Tupelo. The engine's quiet hum, a far cry from my old Ford's rattle. The office overlooked the city park where young mothers pushed strollers under blooming trees, a scene of normalcy that grounded me amid the changes swirling in my life. James Brooks, energetic in his 50s, greeted me with a firm handshake in his spacious office. "Mr. Boyd, good to see you. Coffee?" "No thanks, let's dive in. How's the foundation?" He opened a folder. Charter prepared management as requested. Faye Boyd. Clean Water Fund, still the name. Yes, honors her support of my projects. Financing $2 million to initial, raise to $3 million, and amend my will, bulk estate to foundation upon death. Brooks raised brows but stayed professional. "You're right, but clarify, you have a daughter. Helvisa gets a sum, and the Crescent Avenue house, comfortable life, but main funds to charity." He noted, "Careful wording to prevent challenges she may contest." Understand, but final. We discussed details, 2 hours, fund operations, inheritance split. Brooks offered smart solutions, leaving me clear on execution. "Prepare documents, sign next week." "Admire this, Mr. Boyd, not many noble like this." Shaking hands, accomplishment settled, no regrets. Evening. I hosted Hammond's for dinner. Hired chef, prepared gourmet seared salmon, roasted veggies, Bordeaux from cellar. "To new beginnings," Walter toasted, "and old friendships." After living room fireplace cozied us. Elizabeth eyed Lake Chattanooga watercolor, beautiful local artist, young girl from gallery exhibition. Patron now foundation artists. Making best of opportunities reminds me of Faye. She'd be proud, Elizabeth said softly. Hammonds left. I lingered by fire reflecting past month. Life shifted fast, luxury home friends projects from paycheck to paycheck engineer to this. Main change internal, no more conforming tolerating neglect. Living by my values. Next morning woke light veranda coffee garden promising warmth. Helvisa's message, Dad invite dinner Saturday important news. Hesitated, ignore, or curious. What news, manipulation, or meaningful replied, planned Saturday concert with Hammonds, Sunday 6 p.m. Thanks will come, with heart emoji, jarring post-strife. Pocketed phone pondered, wouldn't sway will foundation. Too much said done for old ways. Friday Brooks office signed fund docs official. New will executed probated. Helvisa sum, old house, rest foundation. Congratulations real difference maker. Hope so, thanks. Leaving relief lifted shoulders decision sealed forward unbound. Home study desk phase photo. Done sweetheart, your name helps thousands with clean water, you'd like. Smile seemed wider light play. Remembered retirement dreams. Trips delayed by illness. Lake house postponed grandchildren. Helvisa prioritized career over. Life's twists. 76 new life foundation. Elite friends who'd predict. Sunday approached with mixed anticipation wariness. Spent day garden tending, new hobby soothing. Hammond's barbecue yesterday introduced neighbors, doctors, retirees, all welcoming no snobbery. Hydrologic engineer fascinating water crises growing, one said. Felt valued unlike Quinton's jabs. Evening chef prepped light meal grilled chicken salad wine, simple elegance. At 6 doorbell chimed, through window Helvisa in sundress, Quinton casual polo effort at normalcy. Open door, come in. Hugs awkward Quinton's pat stiff. House stunning dad tour. Later dinner first. Dining room table set, overlooking garden. News, I asked post-salad. Helvisa glanced Quinton. We're expecting. Shock hit grandchild. Pregnant. Yes, 3 months. Joy flickered, but caution held. Congratulations. Quinton. Exciting nursery plans, but costs. Their angle. Need help financially. Helvisa flushed. Not just wanted share involve you. As grandparent or wallet. Words sharper than intended. Silence. Dad after last. Trying mend. By announcing here post rumors I'm unstable. Elizabeth's words fresh. Helvisa paled. What rumors? Overheard telling neighbors I'm out of sorts, wasting inheritance on projects. Quinton shifted, misunderstood concerned. Concerned about access to money. Helvisa teared. Baby changes things family. Does, or convenient now, I'm wealthy. Stood, happy for you truly. But relationship needs respect, not opportunism. Give chance, she pleaded. Will on terms, foundation my focus, phase legacy. Quinton. Foundation. What about us? Helvisa gets enough rest charity. Faces fell. You're cutting us out. No boundaries, prove change doors open. They left subdued, no fight perhaps seed planted. Alone. Phase photo. Grandchild your dream. Hope they earn place. Weeks blurred fund launched projects neighbors became routine. Helvisa called sporadically updates neutral, no demands. Rumors faded, action spoke. At 76, life bloomed anew purpose peace phase spirit guiding. Freedom's whisper right path, no turning back. Weeks turned into a gentle rhythm in Oakwood Hills, the mansion now fully feeling like home, with phase touches woven into every corner the quilt she'd made draped over the library couch, her favorite vase holding fresh-cut roses from the garden. Mornings often found me on the veranda, coffee steaming as birds flitted through the pink-blossomed apple trees, their songs, a soundtrack to my newfound peace. The fund had launched its first projects partnering with ecosystems to deploy affordable filters in rural African villages where clean water could mean the difference between life and thriving. Emails from engineers overseas filled my inbox, their enthusiasm echoing my own from decades ago when I'd first sketched systems to tame Tupelo's floods. It wasn't just charity, it was legacy phase name etched into solutions that quenched thirst and prevented disease. The Hammonds had become fixtures in this new chapter, their visits a balm against the isolation I'd known too long. Walter and I spent afternoons in my study poring over technical journals, he sharing war stories of bridge designs under fire, me detailing the nuances of my filtration patent. "Owen, this system's a game changer," he'd say, eyes lighting up over diagrams. "Adaptable efficient could save millions in infrastructure costs." Elizabeth brought her literary flair, recommending books that now lined my shelves, and we'd discuss everything from Shakespeare to modern environmental policy by the fireplace. Their barbecue had opened doors to the neighborhood, a retired doctor who shared my interest in chess, a couple running a local art gallery, where I'd bought more pieces to honor Faye's love of beauty. No condescension here, just genuine warmth conversations that valued my expertise, not my wallet. Yet shadows lingered from the past. Helvisa's calls came sporadically, updates on her pregnancy neutral and brief. "Doctor says everything's fine, Dad. It's a boy." No demands but a underlying tension, as if testing waters. Rumors she'd spread had reached more ears, Walter confiding over coffee one day. "Heard some chatter at the club, folks saying you're spending wildly unstable since losing Faye." I nodded, unsurprised. Helvisa's handiwork painting me as a fool to justify her grievances. He clapped my shoulder. "Nonsense. We've seen you here steady as they come. Focus on the good you're doing." It stung less now, the barbs dulled by distance and purpose. I'd even attended the charity concert sponsoring a youth orchestra that played Faye's favorite pieces, the music swelling in the hall like a tribute to her enduring spirit. Afternoons often drew me to the park Faye and I once frequented, now a short drive away, where I'd sit on a bench watching families pondering the grandchild on the way. Faye would have been overjoyed knitting blankets and planning visits, but I wondered if Helvisa saw it as a bridge or another leverage point. Quentin's messages trickled in too. "Owen, let's grab lunch, discuss investments for the baby." Transparent, but I replied politely, delaying without closing doors entirely. Change, if it came, would be proven, not promised. Back home, the automated systems hummed efficiently. Lights dimming at dusk, security alerts minimal in this safe enclave. I'd hired a part-time gardener, his work transforming the grounds into a haven, the Japanese pond stocked with koi, the gazebo strung with lights for evening reads. One evening, Elizabeth dropped by with a pie, her silver hair catching the sunset. "Owen, you're glowing these days, the fun's making waves." We sat in the living room fire, crackling. "It's fulfilling using the patent money for more than walls." She nodded. "And family any thaw. Helvisa's expecting, told me last visit." Her eyes widened. "Grandfather. That's wonderful." "It is, but complicated. After the rumors, give it time, babies soften hearts." Perhaps, but I wouldn't bet my piece on it. As she left, I reflected on Faye's photo in the hall. A boy sweetheart, your dream coming true maybe. Her smile seemed encouraging, urging patience amid justice. The Foundation's board meeting via video that week solidified plans $500,000 grant to a South American initiative adapting my tech for contaminated rivers. Excitement buzzed, young engineers emailing thanks, calling me mentor. At 76, I felt vital, not obsolete. Neighborhood walks reinforced it, nods from passersby, invitations to events. No longer the overlooked widower, but Owen Boyd, the engineer, turned philanthropist. Helvisa's next call came midweek. "Dad, ultrasound was great. Want to see pics?" "Send them?" I said, softening slightly. Images arrived, tiny form, heartbeat strong. Joy stirred, but guarded earned the place as I'd told her photo. As summer hinted, garden blooming fuller, I hosted a small gathering, Hammond's, a few neighbors, chef's barbecue on the patio. Laughter echoed stories shared, Walter toasting, "To Owen, proving age is no barrier to impact." Glasses clinked, warmth spreading. Rumors faded, whispers against action's roar. Helvisa texted, "Thinking of you, maybe visit soon." "When ready," I replied. Freedom held firm. Faye's legacy, guiding life, blooming in ways I'd never imagined. The summer sun lingered longer now, bathing Oakwood Hills in a golden glow that turned the apple orchard into a canvas of light and shadow, each fruit heavy with the promise of fall. I sat at my study desk. Faye's photo to my right, her smile a quiet anchor as I reviewed the latest fund reports. A pilot project in Malawi had brought clean water to 3 villages with local leaders, sending photos of children drinking from new faucets, their grins wide as the horizon. The Faye Boyd Clean Water Fund was no longer just an idea. It was changing lives, my patent's legacy rippling across continents. Emails from young engineers piled up their questions about scaling the tech, sparking late-night replies, my fingers tapping with a vigor I hadn't felt since my city hall days. This wasn't about money. It was about purpose, about honoring Faye's belief in doing good over chasing wealth. Sunday arrived with a soft breeze, the garden's roses nodding as I prepped for Helvisa and Quentin's visit, their important news still a mystery, though I suspected another plea for reconciliation or access to my fortune. The chef set out a simple dinner, herb-roasted chicken, fresh greens, a chilled Sauvignon Blanc that glimmered in the dining room's chandelier light. At 6 p.m., their SUV pulled up, less ostentatious this time, Quentin in a sweater, Helvisa in a loose dress accentuating her pregnancy. "Daddy," she hugged me, her touch, hesitant but warm. "Thanks for having us." Quentin nodded. "Owen, good to see you." Their eyes roamed the mansion columns' marble art, but lingered less greedily than before. "Dinner's ready," I said, leading them to the table overlooking the glowing garden. Post-meal, I leaned back. "So the news." Helvisa took Quentin's hand. "We're naming the baby Owen after you." My breath caught unexpected piercing. "That's an honor," Quentin added. "We've been reflecting, Owen. We've mishandled things, focused on the wrong priorities." Helvisa's eyes teared. "I miss Mom. Miss us as a family. The baby made me see what matters." I studied them, searching for the catch, and the rumors, telling neighbors I'm unstable, wasting inheritance. She flinched. I was hurt, angry, wrong to spread that. "I'm sorry." "Quentin, we both are? No excuses?" Silence hung. Faye's practicality whispered, "Give a chance, but hold firm." "I appreciate the apology," I said. "But respect isn't just words, it's actions over time. You named him Owen means a lot but doesn't erase years." Helvisa nodded, tears falling. "I know. We want to try be better for him." I softened, but only slightly. "Prove it." Doors open, but my terms, foundations my focus, Faye's legacy. "Quentin, understood. We'll show you." They left quieter. No demands, just a tentative hope in their eyes, a seed, perhaps not yet trust. Weeks later, the fund announced a $1 million grant for Central American sanitation, my inbox flooding with gratitude. The Hammonds hosted a dinner toasting, "To Owen making waves." Elizabeth whispered, "Heard Helvisa's been quiet. No more gossip. Progress, maybe." Photos arrived. Helvisa's ultrasound, little Owen's profile clear. I smiled, sent a short reply. "Looks strong." No rush time would test their change. Neighborhood walks grew routine. Neighbors' nods familiar. My chess games with Walter sharpening both mind and bond. The mansion felt full, not of things but meaning, Faye's paintings, my books, the fund's impact. By September, the garden turned golden, leaves drifting like memories. I sat on the veranda, coffee warm, Faye's photo beside me. "Little Owen's coming. Sweetheart, your name lives on in water and family." Her smile seemed to nod. Life at 76 wasn't the retirement we dreamed, Tripp's lake house grandchildren, but it was mine, built on choices untainted by guilt. Helvisa sent a crib photo. "Picked this thoughts," I replied. "Looks sturdy. Bring him to see it someday." A step, not surrender. Freedom held purpose, bloomed Faye's spirit in every ripple of this new chapter.